Good morning and welcome back to the channel. And as you can see, even though it's summer, I'm on the turbo or the trainer for part of my Project 60 training. And if you don't know what Project 60 is, that's how fit can I get in my 60th year, or how much can I increase my FTP by in my 60th year. And it's been going about 6 months now. And I'll link below some of the other Project 60 videos I've done, so it might be worth, if you're interested, catching up on those and maybe subscribing so you don't miss any that come out in the future. So today I'm in the garage training because I'm doing over and unders, and my whole aim of Project 60 is to get fitter, or try to get back some fitness I had a few years ago, which for me was pretty good. And one way of doing that is by improving my FTP. So I've been really focusing on trying to do that over the last few months. And as I said, there are other videos on the channel to show or talk about what I've been doing. But today we're focusing on, as I said, over and unders. And as you probably know, with FTP, which is your functional threshold power, your hour power, how much power can you produce in an hour, there are loads of ways of training it, from just doing massive amounts of zone 2 endurance riding will affect your FTP, or specific intervals at FTP, or doing VO2 max efforts above FTP will pull your FTP up. What I'm focusing on at the moment is that sort of lactate clearance side of FTP. The more lactate you can clear, the more you can work at higher levels. And whenever you start doing heavy work, you start producing lactate and your body clears it at a certain rate. And the better you are at doing that, the better your FTP can be. So what I've been doing over the last few months, with some on and offs with illnesses and things like that, is doing those sort of focused sessions, whether it be longer sweet spot efforts just below FTP, which is another thing I'm doing. But today, as I said, over and unders. So you're working slightly above your FTP. So if your FTP was 250, you might be doing 280 watts for a minute above. And then you go down, could be for a minute, could be 2 minutes, to something like 220 for a minute. So you're constantly going above and below that lactate threshold, and constantly giving your body lactate to work on, and then trying to clear it while you're still working at a relatively high level. And I'm already getting a bit hot, so I'm going to put the fan on. And as I said, with all these sort of things, there are hundreds of workouts you can do which are similar to what I'm doing. Maybe 2 minutes above, 2 minutes below, maybe just shorter, sharper, hard, higher efforts above. But it's all the same idea of getting your body to produce a lot of lactate and then having you clear it. And today, this is my workout. 3 sets of, I think they're 12 minutes above and below lactate. So at the moment I'm just doing a zone 2 sort of warm up. As you can see, there's a minute higher in a few minutes time, just to warm me up, and then getting into those intervals. And the idea over the next month or two is to gradually extend those intervals. So if I was doing 2x9s or 2 or 3x9s last week, as I said, these are 3x12, then maybe 3x15, and then 3x17, and so on, basically building up that time you can work at threshold. And that will improve your lactate clearance. And maybe after a couple of months, if you do a test, you should find your threshold has risen a bit. So as I said, I'm just doing the warm up, ready for these hard efforts. and you'll join me hopefully midway through. And although I'm doing this workout on Trainer Road, it isn't a Trainer Road workout as such. It's one I got off Training Peaks with a plan from there. So I'm basically using that on Trainer Road to manage the workout. But if you do Trainer Road, you'll know there are hundreds of similar workouts that gradually progress you through their training levels. So one interval over. Oh, that was hard work. I haven't done one that hard for a few weeks. So I did drop the power a little bit, but still going over and under threshold. So I'm still getting the same sort of benefit. Just got a 4-minute break, but not looking forward to the next ones. And sometimes if you're doing them on the trainer, you might find it's a lot easier to do them when you're not in erg mode, when you're just on a standard mode and you can vary the wattage just by pedaling a bit faster or slower. Sometimes that's a little bit easier on your muscles than being locked in a power. And again, you still get the same sort of benefit, and you obviously become better at holding a certain power, which is useful for when you're out on the road. I do tend to do these inside though, just because it is so much easier for me than trying to watch it on the road where there's gradients, traffic and things like that. Right, on with the next one. If you're enjoying this content and finding it useful, please don't forget to click that like button and subscribe for more content like this. It's completely free and it really helps the channel out. Oh, so just on the cool down after that third set, which I did have to reduce a fair bit. One thing to remember, of course, is if you're having to drop the power, as long as you're within the zone, so up to maybe when you're doing your overs, up to about 110% of FTP, and below staying around sort of 80, 90% or hard tempo riding, and your heart rate staying in that threshold zone, you know you're getting that benefit. So don't be too worried about sticking exactly to the power prescription. Just do what you can within that zone. And if you find yourself dropping out the zone and it is too hard, well then maybe that is time to call it a day. Another thing the over and unders are good for is when you're group riding and there's surges every now and then up hills and things like that, and you're still having to recover on the other side of it. Over and unders are very good at replicating those sort of rides. So give it a go and let me know how it goes. Or do you do them? Or what have you done, or what do you do to push your FTP up? Especially if you're getting older, it gets harder and harder to gain every watt, I find. And even these, as I said, I sort of try to build up from 9-minute, 12-minute, 15-minute efforts. Every time you're taking a step up is that much harder, and you really notice it. One other thing to remember is make sure you're fueling well for these sorts of efforts and sessions. They really tax you and they really burn carbohydrates quickly because you're working at that much higher level. You might even find having an energy drink through the ride could help a bit too. And if you've got any questions, don't forget to drop those in the comments below and I'll see if I can answer them. So I hope you found the video useful and interesting, and until next time, bye for now.